परमेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। अगजानन पद्मार्कं गजानन अहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तं भक्तानां एकदन्तम् उपास्महे एकदन्तम् उपास्महे।
These classes, the idea for this class is originated during our Kailash Yatra. We were originally planning to start with Rudram. Now for today, we started Ganapathy Atharva Sheersham. Ganapathy Atharva Sheersham occurs in the Atharva Veda, and it's a very, very popular Upanishad. That's what it's called, Ganapathy Atharva Sheersham Upanishad. But it's also used in Upasana, in worship of Lord Ganesha. We will go through Atharva Sheersham, then the phala shruthi we will take up some other time. Before we start talking about Atharva Sheersham Upanishad, we need to understand what really Upanishad means. The Upanishad has three words combined together in it. One is Upa, the second is Ni, and the third one is Shad. The root analysis, the meaning of these root words in Sanskrit gives a completely different meaning of Upanishad. Let's start with Upa. Upa means something that is close, something that is close to you. So in terms of relative distance, let's say you work in an office that's about 10 miles away or 5 miles away, your house is closer to your office. Then your front door is closer than your gate. And then taking this further, then you come to yourself, your feet is closer to you than your doorstep. Your hand is closer to you than your feet. Then your shoulder is closer to you than your fingers. Deriving this, when we say finally arrive at who is that you that you're using as a reference point. So is anyone there that can join in and answer this? Anybody? So when we say this is closer to me, that is closer to me, what point in you are we using as a reference point? Anybody?
The soul level.
Our consciousness?
Yeah. So if you say that, let's say if you have to point out to yourself with your hand, where would you point out? To your heart or your head? This me. When you say me, heart. Okay. So that's primarily what we use would be as a reference point. Like when I say it's closer to me, even using our own body, we say my hand is closer than my feet, my shoulder is closer to me than my hand. So what we say, usually we say our heart. And that's what the Upanishad says, that's where the Atma resides. So the most closest thing, finally, to derive all this by deduction, the most closest thing to you is yourself, just you. The most closest thing to yourself is you. So who is that to you? That closest thing, studying of the most closest thing, which is Atma, that is the closest thing. So studying of the most closest thing, and the other word is Ni in Upanishad. It's the study of the most closest thing with a definite assertion, with a definite understanding. Nishchayena. Ni means Nishchayena. Definitely. How would you understand it without any iota of doubt? Clearly, Nishchayena. Shad means by removing all the negativities, by removing all the ignorance, by removing all the chaff, by separating the grain from the chaff. Shad means just taking out everything that's unnecessary and understanding the most closest thing that is to you is called Upanishad. But the traditional definition of Upanishad will be given as sitting under the feet of a guru, sitting under a tree, all that is okay. But the real meaning of Upanishad is, this is what exactly. Shad means by removing the ignorance, by setting at rest the ignorance, by revealing the knowledge of the most closest thing that is to you, that is called Upanishad. So having understood that Upanishad, let's go further. And Atharva Sheersham Upanishad, this is called Atharva Sheersham Upanishad. Tarva means tarange. In Hindi we have this word tarange, means lahare, waves, and something that is moving, something that's turbulent, like a tsunami or like a hurricane. So that is waves. That Atharva means something that is stable, something that is not wavy, something that is not turbulent, something that's not tumultuous. So Atharva. Atharva means that's Atharva, something economic, absolute state of economity. And then another adjective there, Atharva Sheersham Upanishad. So it's called Atharva Sheersham. Shir in Hindi again, it's a very simple thing. It's your head. It could be intellect. It's the chief of something. He is the head of the institution. So this is my head. Atharva Sheersham means that is the mother of all stability. Sheersham means the head, the mother or the chief of all stability. Atharva being stability and Shir being the head. So the mother of all stability. And what is that? This is Lord Ganesha. So if you look at Lord Ganesha himself, the way he's sitting with his lambodara, with his pot belly, and with his heavy body, he's absolutely stable. So that's why he is also called Vikna Harta. He destroys all the obstacles because no obstacle can go past through him because he's absolutely stable. So this Upanishad is appropriately called Atharva Sheersham Upanishad, the mother of all stability. By studying this Upanishad, by reciting this Upanishad, you get the grace of Lord Ganesha, whereby your life, if it's tumultuous, your life, if it's turbulent, your life, if it's wavy, your life, if it's unstable, becomes stable. So we could still talk about it more and more, but because of the time constraint, we will keep moving. So that's what the Atharva Sheersham Upanishad means. And it has three constituents. One is it has a preamble. Everybody able to see the screen here?
Yes.
PowerPoint? Yes?
Yes.
Yes, good. So it is the essence of Vedanta. Atharva Sheersham Upanishad is the essence of Vedanta because it contains all the Mahavakyas, that is the gist of Vedanta. So the constituent of the Ganapathy Atharva Sheersham Upanishad is it has a preamble, number one, and then there is the main Atharva Sheersham Upanishad, and that is the phala shruthi. What we will talk about today is number 1 and 2, the preamble part and the main Upanishad, and the phala shruthi we have sometime in subsequent classes. We will take it up, which is very beautiful. I love that phala shruthi. So beautiful, lovely. And again, this Atharva Sheersham Upanishad, the reason it's called Upanishad, even though it is Upasana for Lord Ganapathy, it is called Upanishad because Upanishads deal with the ultimate knowledge in Hinduism, the ultimate teaching of Hinduism, which is Vedanta, because Vedas have 3 divisions. They have the first portion with all the mantras and the sutrams, and the second portion we have the upasanas, and then the third portion is called the Aranyakan. So you have the Samhitas, which is the mantras, then the Brahmana portions where how to use the mantras in havas and pujas and for what purpose. Then you have the Aranyakan, which is the third part, which is where the Upanishad, each Veda has its own Upanishad. So that's where the Upanishads come. So the Upanishads are the crux of our Indian teaching, Indian wisdom, that is ultimate teaching of Hinduism. And Ganapathy Atharva Sheersham Upanishad qualifies to be Upanishad because it does talk about the ultimate teaching of Hinduism called the Vedanta. So we'll see that in a few minutes. So let's go to the preamble, which is a common mantra that most of you know. Om Bhadram Karne Vishniyama Deva Bhadram Pashyim Akshavirya Jatra Hirairangai Stushtvagam Sastanubihi Yashema Hitam Jadayuhu. So that's the preamble for this Upanishad. So this means Badram Karnevi. Karnevi means your ears, Karna. Karnevi, through our ears, we will hear everything that is auspicious. May we hear through our ears everything that is auspicious, everything that is Badram, everything that is good, everything that is life-supporting. Shrunu, we will hear. Shrunuyama Devaha. Oh, the divine ones, Devaha, this is addressing the Devas. Oh, Devaha, please help us that we would hear whatever is auspicious, whatever is life-supporting, whatever is life-sustaining, whatever is enhance my progress towards the ultimate goal. So with your help, let me hear only those and not watch these crazy TVs and the violent shows every evening and get our minds spoiled and not listen to all these crazy songs and everything that goes around in the internet and everywhere else in all the social media. So let's avoid all that. Let's hear only that is life-supporting. Let's hear that's only life-sustaining. Let's hear that's only in harmony with nature. Let's hear only those things that will take us to our ultimate goal of realizing our oneness with Thee, O Great One. So Devaha. And then what else we are praying for? The next line, Bhadram Pashyema Akshaybi, with our eyes, Pashyema, let's see everything that's auspicious. Let's see only those. So that's the second part of the prayer. And then the third part, after praying for these two, then we make a commitment. What is the commitment we make? Stirai Rangai is also commitment as well as a prayer. Stirai Rangai Tushtuvagam Sastanubihi. With the Stirai Rangai, with a healthy body and healthy limbs, let's offer our lives, the rest of our lives, wherever we have, for the sake of the divine. For the sake of the divine means for realizing the divine in us. Yashema Devahitam Yadayuhu. Yashema will spend the rest of the life Devahitam for the sake of divinity. Yadayuhu, whatever is our life, whatever remains in our life, we will do that. And then so that is a commitment as well as a prayer. And then we also second part. Swastina Indro Vrittashravaha Swastina Pusha Visvavedaha Swastina Starkshyo Arishtanemihi Swastino Brihaspatirdadhatu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So there is a prayer to address to four deities or four gods. Indra, then Pusha, then Tarkshya, and then to Brihaspati. So in the prayer is, may all these four grant us good tidings and mangalam, swasti. You know, let all these deities keep us swasti, let us keep us positive, keep us auspicious, keep us healthy, keep us disease-free, all those things. Swasti means that one word includes all this. There is no exact translation in English for that, for the one word swasti. So that's what it includes. So swastina Indro Vriddashravaha. Let Indra, Vriddha means ancient, old, but in this case it's ancient. Shravaha. Shrava means with the glory. The one with the ancient glory, Indra. Let him give us the swasti. Let him grant us good tidings. Let him give us the mangalam. And then the Pusha, which is the sun god, Pusha. Let him, because sun god is a very important aspect of Hinduism, and he is the one that is worshipped in Gayatri mantra. When we do chant Gayatri, Om Bhurbu Savitru, they teach the sun god in the Savitru form of Savitru that's worshipped. And then another thing that I would like to mention to you at this point, that it's very important to understand that sun is one of the aspects of Lord Shiva, because when we worship Lord Shiva, he is Ashtamurti. He is called Ashtamurti. So in one of the 108 mantras, when we chant Shiva's Ashtottara Satanamavalin, Om Ashtamurti Namaha. So Ashtamurti, and also Ramana Maharshi beautifully describes in his Upadesa Saram, when we worship, how do you worship that unmanifest God? He says you can worship him in one of the 8 manifestations, and one of the manifestations is sun. So the same way, Lord Shiva, when we discuss Rudram, they will talk about this a lot. In Rudram, it comes a lot. Utainam, Gopa, Adarshan, Mudaharya. Oh Lord Shiva, oh Lord Rudra. Everybody, the cowherds, the water maiden, they see you every morning at the rising sun. Utainam, Gopa, Adarshan, Mudaharya. Gopa, the cowherds. Mudaharya, the water maiden. So all these people see you every day as a rising sun. So in many places, Shiva is represented as sun. So in the Gayatri Mantra, who is really worshipped is Lord Shiva, who is that ultimate reality. So here also the sun god is prayed to. So Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha. So what kind of Pusha is he? Pusha, the sun god, is just not what you just see as the light form, but he is a Vishwaveda. He is the knowledge of this entire cosmos in him. Because we see Isana Sarva Vidyana Ishvara Sarva Bhutana. Shiva is the embodiment of all the knowledge, and because sun is an aspect of Lord Shiva, it is also called Vishwaveda. So Vishwaveda had all knowing sun gods. So that is the number 2 god that is prayed to. And then the third one is a very interesting aspect here. Swastina Tarkshyo Arishtanemihi. Tarkshya usually represents a mythical bird. Some people call it Garuda, the Lord Vishnu's vehicle. So, but then it is that mythical bird, the destroyer of evil. So if you remember the story Gajendra Moksham, that Gajendra used to go into a pond and pick up a lotus flower and bring to Lord Vishnu every day, offer it to him. And one day a crocodile caught hold of Gajendra's leg, one of his legs, or foot, and then Gajendra was crying, and it was Garuda that instantly brought Lord Vishnu with his chakra to destroy that crocodile. So that's why that destroyer of negativity is the mythical bird or Garuda. So that is prayed to here. Swastina Starkshyo Arishtanemihi. Arishtanemihi means one that destroys negativity. And then the last one that's prayed to here in this, Swastino Brihaspati Dadatu. Brihaspati, who is the universal teacher, the ancient teacher, the teacher of all the teachers, priest of even the Devatas, but he is also prayed to. So the different aspects, Indra is the maintainer of this world, and Pusha is the knowledge and the ultimate reality, and Takshya, the bird, is the destroyer of negativity, and Brihaspati is the teacher of wisdom. So it covers pretty much all the aspects. So this is what the preamble for Ganapathy Atharva Sheersham. It's a beautiful prayer. When you chant this Ganapathy Atharva Sheersham, the moment you chant this prayer, the moment you start with Om Bhadram Karnebi, you really don't know how much is happening in your life. So all these devas and devatas hear this prayer and bless you with these blessings and the grant their blessings, and then grant you a prayer. Om Bhadram Karnebi, let me hear all that is good. So you don't have to make too much of an effort. Once we say these prayers, once we recite these prayers regularly, there's nothing much you have to do. Because all these things will happen naturally because you will have the support of all these devis and devatas. And then we also pray not only to them, but also to Indra, to Pusha, to this Takshya, and then also to Brihaspati. So it's so beautiful, it's so lovely that our Hinduism has made everything so simple. But by doing the simple things, we achieve with the most greatest things, the most glorious things, the most adorable things, but with a very simple techniques like this simple prayers. So the main Upanishad has these 5 portions. One is the Mahavakyas. The second is a prayer again for protection. And then there's the technology is given there by the analysis of the Moola Mantra for Lord Ganesha and the technology for realizing the truth of Lord Ganesha. And then the form of Ganesha is described in very detail. And then finally it ends with salutations to Lord Ganesha. So that's the main Upanishad. So it starts with Om Namaste Ganapataye. So after the preamble, Bhadram Karnevi mantra, this is how it starts. Om Namaste Ganapataye. And this tells us a lot of things. What is the first thing it tells us? That even before the Rishi, even before he starts reciting the Atharva Sheersham, the humility is expressed here. Oh Ganapati, I am worshipping you. Namaste to you. And because I'm nothing like, most of you remember Hanuman Chalisa, how Tulsidas ji begins it with very humble pleadings, that Kulsihi Natanu Janaki. So that's what most of our most of our scriptures, most of our sutta, most of our prayers begin by asserting that I am nothing in front of you, I am so humble. So unless you have that attitude to anything, unless you have that attitude, unless you bring that attitude of humility, there is nothing you're going to learn. Because if you come into this world or come into anywhere, any class or any teacher or any prayer by thinking that you know everything, that your ego could fill this whole world, and then there's nothing that can get into you because you're already full with that ego. So that's why even the Rishi begins with Om Namaste Ganapataye. I'm so humble in front of you, Ganapati, Namaste to you first. So that is what it becomes. Om Namaste Ganapataye. Then he glorifies him. Because why? Tvameva pratyaksham tattvamasi. Here is the first Mahavakya comes tattvamasi. So you are tattvamasi. This is called asitvam in Vedanta. Asitvam means being that, being thatness. Asitvam. Asitvam. Tvamasi. So aham brahmasmi. I am Brahman, I am that. But not only I am Brahman, but that, tvam asi, tvam, thou, that, asi, that. Thou art that. Asi means art, thou art, you are that. And not only I am Brahman, but you are also that Brahman. So here Ganapati is addressed as all those mantras. And then if you look at the fourth one, Tvameva sarvam kalvidam brahmasi. And then I am Atma Brahma is the last line. Sakshat Atma Sinityam. So the Lord Ganesha is all that ultimate reality that we talk about in Vedanta, Hinduism. He is the Tattvamasi, he is the Sarvidam Kalvidam Brahma, he is I am Atma Brahma. And not only that, he is Kartasi, he is the Karta. Again, the message from the Bhagavad Gita that Lord alone is the Karta, we are just instruments. So he is the Karta and he is the Datta, he is the sustainer. He is not only the Karta, but he is also the Datta, he is the sustainer. And also he's a Hatta, he's the one who resolves everything. And he's the one who destroys all the vignas. So all these beautiful mantras are here written. Tvameva pratyaksham tattvamasi. Tvameva kevalam kartasi. Tvameva kevalam dattasi. Tvameva kevalam kartasi. Tvameva sarvam kalvidam brahmasi. Tvam sakshat atmasi nityam. So having affirmed his humility and then having put Ganesha all the way up there to the highest point that he can be placed, then the Rishi affirms, makes another beautiful affirmation that this is not, I'm not exaggerating. So he says, after making all that, first saying that Namaste Ganapati, then he places him all above the highest place that's possible, that Advaita Vedanta place, Sakshat Brahman. And then he makes a beautiful affirmation here, that whatever I'm telling you is the truth. Ritam Vachmi, Satyam Vachmi. Rishis don't tell you a lie. Because Rishis cannot tell you a lie, because Rishis in that state of consciousness, a samadhi state of consciousness, which is God consciousness. And Patanjali beautifully describes that consciousness as Ritambara Prajna. That Prajna, that consciousness, is filled with only Ritam, only truth, only absolute reality. So there is no falsehood that can come out of that consciousness. So Ritambara Prajna. But the Rishi makes an affirmation here for that whatever I'm going to tell you, whatever I told you just now, that Ganesha is this, or whatever I'm going to tell you onwards, it is Ritam only. It's Satyam Vachmi. I declare the Ritam. That is the divine law. And I declare this to be Satyam. So that is his affirmation to us. That is his commitment to us, that you don't have to take me for granted, but this is whatever I'm telling you is the truth. So that is undertaking that the Rishi gives us, Atharva Rishi gives us. So let's move on. And then right away, he prays. Before he even goes into the details further of the Upanishad, there is a prayer that he says, Avatvam Mam, because he is the one who is going to talk about the Upanishad. He is the one who is going to give the Upanishad. So he needs to be protected first. So because if he is not protected, then the Upanishad is not going to come out of him. So he says, protect me, Avatvam Mam, so I can give this knowledge. And then protect the ones, Avabhaktaram, the one who chants this, and then the one who, Avashrotaram, the one who listens to this. Avadhataram, protect the one who supports this, who sustains this, who supports this kind of activity. Satsang, all those things. So who protect those who do Avadhataram. And then who also the ones who are assisting in all this. Avanu Chanam Avastishyam, and the Stishyas who want to learn all this, please protect all of them. So there's prayer is for about 6 people here. One is me, second is he says, protect me, and then he says, and then who chants this after listening to me, and then those who listen, and then those who support this, and those who assist in that support, and then all the Shishyas that would learn this. So the reciter, the listener, the giver, the sustainer, then the disciple, and then protect them how? The Rishi is very detail-oriented. He doesn't say generalized protection. He says protect us from the dangers that is going to come from all the directions. Ava Paschata means protect me from all the dangers that come from the west, Paschim direction. Ava Paschata Ava Purasta everything that comes from the east direction. Ava Tarata every danger that could come from the north. Ava Dakshinata every danger and trouble that could come from the south. Ava Chodvata every trouble that could come from up above, like lightning, thunder, hurricane. Then finally, Ava Dharata every trouble, every danger that could come from the earth, ground, like the earthquakes and floods. This is a beautiful prayer. So protect me, protect the sustainer, protect the disciple, protect the listener, and protect from all these directions, west, east, north, south, and up above, and whatever dangers could come from earth, like animals, snakes, accidents, cars, all these things could come from the earth. So this is a beautiful prayer. So when you pray these things, it really helps you. So whenever you get a chance, please learn the Atharva Sheersham and then recite it at least once a day if you can, or once a week if you can. So it's a beautiful, beautiful mantra. Beautiful mantra.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri